Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So, Trump is not going to back down. So I reported this last night. He's not going to bend at all with his tariff stuff. Okay, he's going to continue forward. And Scott Benson and Howard Lutnick, they are in full agreement that short term things could get really rocky for the stock market and everything else. But long term, this is good for America, okay? So be prepared for anything short term. And even when asked about recession, Trump was asked directly about recession. J.D. Vance now asked about recession. No one is ruling it out. That's the thing. I know no one can make guarantees of anything. But, you figure if you ask a question like this, you would at least hear something like, no, we're going to make sure that even though there may be short-term, disruptions or volatility, we're going to make sure that, hey, the U.S. is not going to fall in recession. We're doing the opposite. We're going to make America great again, right? But, no one is saying that. No one is ruling out a recession. That's a little scary to me. It's like, yeah, we're going to make America great for the future, but we might fall into recession now. That's not what we want to hear. And even though no one really likes ECB President Christine Lagarde, she says Trump will trigger a global recession, not just a U.S. recession, a global recession, since there's going to be a trade war everywhere with, the European Union, with China, with obviously countries in North America, everywhere. So this is what causing, obviously, markets to be very, very, very volatile recently, because no one really knows what the hell's going to happen. But you know what? Like I said, markets are oversold. Very, very, very oversold, right? So despite all these things, you could obviously, like days like today and other days that we had during the week and last week, we're getting bounces because investors are starting to realize that we're just too oversold. There's so many bargains. And long-term, fundamentally, a lot of things haven't changed besides just fear about short-term, but especially like with Bitcoin. It's the reason why it was created, because of all these shenanigans, right? So that's the good thing. Even though there's a lot of scariness right now, there are still a lot of great things to look forward to. Vegas conference, Bitcoin conference, even though it looks bleak right now, this is probably going to be the biggest Bitcoin conference we've had so far. So make sure you check it out if you can and use my code for 10% discount. So the EU, yesterday I covered how the EU wants to retaliate against the tariffs placed on aluminum and steel, the 25% tariff that Trump has announced. And I guess one of the things that the EU decided to retaliate against was American whiskey, okay? And they placed a 50% tariff on whiskey. And then Trump did not like that. And now he's threatening, he's giving them 24 hours to remove it, or he's going to put 200% tariff on French champagne and other alcohol from the EU, right? So Trump is like, don't test me. Don't test us. If you're going to do this, we're going to fight back harder, right? So, I mean, this is the situation we're in. We got countries that are beating their chest right now. They're throwing tariffs left and right. Is this the right course? This is how you lead to real tariff wars, right? Trump is banking on the fact that all these other countries are going to give up. They're not going to want to mess with the U.S. because our purchasing power is the greatest of the world, and everyone wants to sell to the U.S. So Trump is banking on that and banking on the fact that all these tariff wars will end soon. But, we'll have to see. In the meantime, markets do not like it. Markets are selling off and speculating on the companies that will be hurt the most and industries that will be hurt the most. And, this might escalate further to other goods besides just, alcohol in this case, right? So we'll see. We'll see. Oh, and by the way, a quick correction yesterday, I made a video about speculating on why Trump wants to do all the tariffs. I mean, I know the logical reasons is to bring jobs and manufacturing back to the U.S. I get that. But, I also stated that maybe it was to disrupt the markets and bring rates down, right? So that, hey, when we have to borrow more money, we could borrow at cheaper if the rates are down, right? It's a way to force Fed Chair Powell to lower the rates if the economy is not doing so well and the markets are crashing. I did show an article saying $7 trillion last night in the next 12 months. That was actually an old article from 2024 going into 2025. Actually, going from 2025 to 2026, it's more like 9 to 10 trillion. So that number has gone up even more, okay? And yeah, so it's not a really good situation. Our deficit keeps going up. Our debt keeps going up, which makes us need to borrow more money, and we have to issue more bonds, right? And it is in our best interest to keep the interest rate low, because if we have to borrow more money at a higher interest, that's going to put us more into debt, right? So none of this is good. None of it is good at all. This is why we have Bitcoin, guys. This is why we have Bitcoin.